Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Gabriella Martay here at Helps 2. I'm so excited because I don't even know what episode we're on, but you're watching the Creatives Conversation or listening. Boom. All right, so today I have a really good friend of mine who recently became a friend, like within the last, 1 or 2 years?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. So I feel like you're on like a court show when you're like, yes, Your Honor, that's right. This is my friend Kendra Reed. I call her
Hello.
K Baby.
Oh
I
man,
never
you said my
asked.
whole government.
I did. If you need to follow her on the internet, the World Wide Web, not a problem. I gave you her whole name. I call her K Baby. I should have called you that way before I started calling you that. Because we met, I'm going to get into it, but we met, I don't know, where did we meet?
That's a good question.
I don't know either. Okay, so we're part of the same, like, community around here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But my first, like,
It was at my house, I think.
really?
Game night?
Okay, so that's not my first, like, personal memory of you.
Oh.
My first personal friendship memory was basketball. We played together in a basketball league here in Kansas City.
Interesting.
And that was, like, the first time I felt like I had my own friendship with you.
Aw.
Yeah,
I
like,
love that.
we got to know each other on a really personal level.
Yeah. Blood, sweat, and tears, man.
Lots of tears and
Lots of tears.
And I'm sorry, you're going to hear a lot of laughing because Kendra and I cannot keep it together. So Kendra's a creative, and I wanted her to come on the show, number one, because she's my friend. She's a good time. You're a riot. But, like, we had this conversation at Hawaiian Brothers. Remember that? When we went deep in creative, I mean, for lack of a better word, conversation, but, like, talking about everything creative. Like, we were talking about, like, mental struggles. How do you know? We were both talking about, like, how do we know, like, what to pursue? What does that look like? All of these different creative things. And that's when we were like, we need to work together.
Yes.
Like, this needs to happen because we have synergy. And even more than that, like, I just like you. So can we tell people, like, what is it that you do creatively? Like, I know not all of your creative pursuits have fully matured, but that's why I wanted you on this show, because there's so many creatives that are watching who they feel like they're lost on the journey. You know what I mean? Because they have this big dream. And I know this feeling so well. They have this big dream and they're on the path getting there, but they feel so behind and they feel as if they can't see the end of the road. And then, like, let's just talk, like, that seems like one issue, but then what happens when you're multi-talented? Like, I know you are, and you feel like, well, I need to choose one road. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's a
we
whole
were
nother
talking about
issue,
that.
right? Like,
Yes.
on top of the first issue of feeling like, how do I get to where I want to go? So
Yeah.
let's just talk about first, before I even get into deeper questions, what are your creative, like, gifts? Like, I know you know some of them. If you make me tell you what they are.
No. You're good. I'm just
kicked out.
Sorry.
Just
Sometimes my face just be doing things,
I'm
and
messing
then,
with
like,
That's real.
anyways, because this is always, like, I'm always thinking, but man, I feel like, say your question again.
What are, like, your creative, like, passions and gifts?
I feel like I know a few of them, but I feel like I'm still discovering them. I feel like, honestly, for me, as I've gotten older, like, and also to my relationship with God, like, once I came into that and that knowledge, I think it actually gave room for me to be able to, like, get to know myself better.
Really? Okay, how old were you when you feel like you came into that?
I know that I felt different when I turned 27. Like, 27 is a really
Me
big year.
too. Sorry,
yeah,
just
yeah. Like, I tell like,
it's a
our friend
magical
Mary,
age.
like our friend Mary, like, when we had a conversation, I was like, just wait till you turn 27, man. I'm telling
Everything
you, it's gonna be the
shifts.
year. Like, and I think we had a conversation. She was like, yeah, I felt that. But for me, it was just like I felt more mature in my brain. Like, I just felt different.
Yeah.
And just able to, like, handle things a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's also still a process. So I think, like, since then is, like, honestly been an unraveling of just, like, who I am and, like, what I like and and being unapologetic with that. Like,
Yeah.
like, I like to dance and so I'm gonna dance. Like I'm gonna make a TikTok and I'm gonna do that. I also I have an interest with like acting. Like I just think, I don't know, I used, like when I was younger, I used to like, my favorite show, well, and many shows, but like my favorite movie at the time was It Takes Two, Mary-Kate and Ashley. I was huge Mary-Kate and Ashley fan.
Was that song It Takes Two, baby? Was that on there or no?
I have no idea.
I just feel like
it's pretty bad. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie. Probably, but I don't remember. It's been a while. Calling me
sorry,
out.
everybody.
So that was your favorite movie? No, but
it's okay, no judgment.
It really, no, you're good. But it really was, and so like I would reenact that all the time. Like,
really?
Yes, and like my friends would come over and I'd be like, let's reenact American Ashley, and we would do that all the time. I mean, I just like doing that. I like making people like laugh, like my family. I used to like not make fun of old people, but like, you know, I think because I watched a lot of like All That and all of that, but
yes.
You know, you pull up your pants and then you like put on glasses and get my grandma's cane and act like you like don't have any teeth. Like I would like do like that. It was kind of like a skate kind of, and like just to like make like the grown-ups around me laugh. Like I loved making people laugh and I loved to laugh, and so I would do stuff like that. I mean,
all of this sounds really frivolous and random.
It is.
Because you haven't given them context. Kendra is really good at TikTok. Like, you shine such a light through TikTok because I follow you. Mostly on Instagram because you put your TikToks on Instagram. So I just killed two birds with one stone. I see you on the gram. And you're hilarious.
Thank
and
you.
like super gifted. So sorry to cut you off. But yeah,
no,
sports.
You're good. Thank you.
Actually, you're really good at sports too.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, so because you're so humble, I just got to let people know. Kendra was playing powder puff football on a team out here. So and you were MVP. Weren't you the quarterback?
No. Well, girl, no.
What were you doing?
And quarterback in the same sentence, that doesn't, no.
But you were getting all the touchdowns. You were making all the touchdowns.
I mean.
You were. Like.
Well, when did you come this year? Or
no,
last
the year before.
Oh, okay. Last year, I don't really remember last year, but I think I had a couple. like
you said, I think, I did all the touchdowns.
I don't know how, no, not all of them. I know I didn't have all of them, but like, I know I really did. I'm not even like trying to like, that's not false humility. Like I'm
she can't remember though.
But I really
That's
don't. Like there's only like a couple like highlights or whatever from each, because honestly, Gabby, like when I'm playing, like I love football so much. Like when I'm playing, like I'm just really excited to be out there. And
I know.
And I just want to catch the ball. Like
it kills me. Can I just be honest? Because I grew up and just with giftings and sports and all of that, like there were people like you and then people like me. The people like you who are just excited. Your face. What do you mean? What do you mean? The people like you who were super excited just to be there, but you were super great at it.
Ugh.
And then the people like me that were like, I just wish I had an ounce of their talent. I used to have to I don't want to call it a struggle, but I used to have to practice things so much more than the average person.
Really?
Yeah. I had to put a down payment down. So all my creatives out there and people that are like doing skilled stuff, I like growing up, I had to put in a lot more effort than most of my peers. I don't know what it was. Like, because I played basketball too.
Yeah,
and
I thought you were really good. So that's what I'm like.
I was all right. Like, in terms of
shot.
like, I think it was highly competitive where I was from in California growing up because I was near the Bay Area. So lots of girls that 6'2" and like could kill you. And so legitimately getting a rebound, I think I got knocked out one time. This girl got the rebound and then like, you know, what do you call it? You get the rebound and you like post up and you
I don't know what you call it, but
basically
I know what you
she
mean.
got it appropriately and her elbows were the same height as my ears and she pivoted and literally just knocked me down. Like, and my dad was like, ooh. I was like, yeah, that hurt. So anyways, I just felt like I had to put a lot more effort in. And now on the back end, I'm still doing a lot of these things. Like we played basketball like a year or two ago in that league. And that was a little tough because those girls were next level. But we hung in there. We played the whole game, like most every game. I'm still tired. Can we just talk about the first game? I know we're doing a lot of random asides. This is just going to be a conversation.
It is random because we are random
we're
together.
Random. So that first basketball game that we played together, do you remember that?
Girl.
I needed a wheelchair, but there was nobody there for me because I was exhausted. We had a team of 5 people, y'all, here in Kansas City. And these girls were rotating them in, rotating them out. They had all played college ball.
Yep.
I didn't play college ball. Did you play?
I played for a semester.
Yeah, not for me. I played highly competitive in high school and on travel teams. But anyways, so that was cool. But I just want to say, taking it all back, I can get back on the path. It was like even playing the guitar and learning skills, like everything that helps too. I had to put a down payment down though. It felt like a lot more than the average person. So just to encourage people out there who you feel maybe like you're struggling or like it doesn't come as easy for you, I think that's okay.
I think so too. It teaches you to work hard, I think.
The grind.
Another good, like, this is random, but kind of not really. I love watching like sports documentaries, but I don't know if you've seen The Last Dance, Michael Jordan. I think it's called The Last Dance.
I need to watch that. Tell us.
Ooh, it's so good. But then that also started me like on like a bunny hole to like bunny hole.
Rabbit hole. Yeah, somebody said that the other day. I was like, a rabbit hole. Okay, go ahead.
Same thing. Rabbit hole to watch just a bunch of them. Like I watched like Lakers versus like the Celtics or something.
Yeah, that was a championship like recently.
Yeah. Oh,
like
really?
last like 5-10 years. No, like 10 years for sure.
Oh, okay, because I was just watching a bunch of them because I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good, and it like also like motivates me. And it was like during football season, so I was like trying to watch like a lot of football stuff and just like to get hyped because I was like, woo, I just want to like catch this ball, man. Anyway, it's literally like I tell people like that I play with, I'm like, if I believed in past lives, I was a dog. Like, I'm not joking because
like you
I
see
just
the ball
play,
and you fetch.
Yeah, I just want to play fetch.
So you're
like,
a receiver then?
Yes, that's my favorite thing.
Were you wide receiver?
No, this year they put me a lot as like running back and then some wide receiver.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, not gonna lie, but I was like a little skeptical because I was like, I did track too, but like I'm a slow starter. So like I gain speed as I run versus like one of my like really good friends, best friend, she's super quick starts.
Like off the line. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not really, so I was like, we'll see how this goes.
That's been me in life. But, I think I'm just like, I know that's deep, but
no, that was really deep. I love
session. I always have felt like I was a slow starter in everything in life. Love, business, school. But once I got started, I feel like I could pass people on like mile 12. Like,
come on.
I'm more of a marathon runner just in life, like mentality wise, than I am a sprinter, which is really ironic because my family is full of people that sprint. Like my older brother was like almost a professional sprinter. He sprinted in college and all that stuff. And so, but I just have never been a sprinter. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I've always been like a marathon runner.
I like that though, because I mean, you have endurance, and that's what we need, endurance.
I had to learn that. I was a fourth quarter basketball player too.
Really?
So just to encourage all of you, this is all for hopefully encouragement. Yeah, my dad would always preach to me, fourth quarter, Gabriella, fourth quarter, because it's really easy to give your best in the first 2 quarters, halftime hits, and then all of a sudden the whole game can flop, like switch like the direction in which it was going. And so my dad was like, hey, listen, you might not be the best, but if you give all you got and you play fourth quarter like the first quarter, all the energy, and you actually rev it up in the fourth quarter, you can crush a lot of people. So my dad would literally yell from the stands sometimes, Gabriella, fourth quarter. And I'd be like, you know, you pull it all, you know what I'm talking about. You get that like second win and you pull it all together and you're like, I'm going to give it all on the court, like right now.
Yeah.
So that's been my life mentality. Like I might not be quick off the cusp of anything when the gun goes off. I have track flashbacks. I was not fast in track like that either, but I could catch somebody on the tail end.
Yeah.
And so that's always been me. Like I might not be great
really
at the beginning. Kind of. Yeah, but I can catch up and maybe even pass you towards the end. Yeah.
I find that, I mean, that's pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
I like, because I mean, it's kind of sucks if you're like fast, but you have quick starts, but you can't finish.
Right.
Where's that going to get you? Like,
that
if you
is
translate
a whole
that
mentality.
in life. Yeah, like if you translate that in life, like, oh, like, I'm going to get this job and I'm going to work really hard at first. And then, like, you can't, like, you end up quitting or, like, they fire you because you can't, you know, actually live up to your potential, like, you know, live up to your potential, like you quit. Like, so,
that's a word, because let me tell you, Kendra, everything in my life that's worth having has been like, if I'm honest, like at least a 10-year process. Like everything that people look at me and they say, man, we're just gonna get real, because I feel like I can get real with you. oh, that's really cool that you have that, Gabriella Martay. It's really cool that like you're doing music or like you own this company. And I'm like, you see me 10 years in.
Yeah.
But you didn't see me the 5th year when I was struggling and like had to work 3 jobs or whatever. You didn't see all that. Like, and so I think, do you have any advice? Because you do have an athletic mentality. And this is mostly, I would love to pick your brain. That's why I have you here. Not my brain per se. But like,
keep my brain.
Okay, so you have so many gifts and so many things to offer. Like,
Thanks.
And you do it though. Like, what about somebody that might be like struggling a little bit with that? Because I think you have struggled. I have struggled.
I'm Well, it's not past tense for me. I am struggling.
Still. Well, how are you not giving up? Like, what keeps you going? And how do you not go crazy with it all, to be honest?
Oh, I do.
Haven't.
Oh, I do.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then keep it real for us, then.
Like, I mean, I'm like, let me just see if I can find my words, but because I feel like there was loaded questions.
Sorry, I'd be asking loaded questions.
No, they're good. It's just like, let me see if I can actually form sentences right now, because there's a lot in my brain, and which actually that kind of speaks to like how I feel too. Like I feel like there's a lot in me, but like to actually get it out and for it to translate into making sense, it's like that's where I'm trying to do now, because it's not always the easiest. Which actually, to go back to your first question about when did I know I was a creative, like sorry, not to like swerve, but I feel like that I don't feel like I always felt necessarily like that, like kind of stuffed up or stopped up. Like when I was younger, I feel like it came maybe way more freely than it does now, but which is where I'm getting back to, where it's coming out. But I knew like I feel like actually having what's the word I'm looking for? Like a pinpointed idea of like when I knew, I think, because I think I was just like kind of just living, and it was just who I was and what I was, I guess. And so I didn't really know that that's what there was no word for it. It was just like, what do you mean? Like it was just like a normal to me.
This is like life. Yeah,
kind of thing, or just who I am, just being myself. But I think once I got to, I think it was like middle school, maybe even like a little bit like sixth grade or something. It was just, I would spend a lot of time like writing. I always loved to like write little raps or like write like poems or stuff like that. But I remember specifically being in my room and like I wrote like a couple of different like rap/poems type thing, and where I was literally like expressing stuff like pain, deep pain, that it was always there, but I didn't necessarily know why or like how deep it was, because it hurt really bad. And like but like I don't know, like not to get like too much into that, because I'm just like there's a lot still, but I just remember just like being able to like express myself that way. And it was like, I think that's when I knew, where I was just like, oh, I don't know, my brain works like that, like kind of thing. I don't know if I was just like, oh, I'm super creative. Like it was just kind of like, this is helpful for me. Like this is something that, oh, like I can do that. And then I would like show like my mom, or I would show like my family, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, like that's really good. And I'd be like, really? Like kind of stuff like, oh. And so I think that's kind of when I was like, like, not that I was like, oh, I'm the best, or I'm really good at this. It was just kind of like, oh, like what I did was good. Like it was like validation for me, like from them, of just like, you do something, you know, and you get like either it's good or it's bad kind of thing. And so I think that's when I knew. And then to like what were your questions again, like the ones that we went to before? Because
you're so good going back to the questions. I'm like, I don't even know.
But I will say, I had a place.
Oh, you're gonna pivot. Going, oh man,
can't.
I don't remember. Yeah, but I will say, sorry, I have this whole list of questions that I'm not using.
They remember.
They're like texting back there.
Oh no, I mean like the social, like.
Oh yeah, if you guys remember and you're watching the video or listening to the podcast, please message us and we'll answer it on our next one maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. Because we're trying to get more people, more of a conversation. I will say that speaks to, there's like a book that we put out here at Helps Too called We Don't Need Another Marketing Book. And it really is for creatives to have just like to gain the courage to become influencers and sustain their craft. And it's not necessarily a step by step, but it is like, let's recreate your mentality. And if you grasp this mindset, you will always be successful.
That's good.
In reaching people. And I think that's like with anything in life. If you grasp this money mindset, which is what I'm doing right now in my life, or if you grasp this mindset on relationships or whatever, you will be highly successful. And so, long story short, you saying that though really reminds me of the book, because long story short, we would say, how do you get started? Just start. Like, I know that sounds so trivial, but like some people are waiting for these moments of like, so-and-so said I'm okay. No, do it before anybody says it, and let the people who resonate with what you do
that's good.
resonate, and the ones that don't, they will surely go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I think you're I definitely don't think you're alone in saying that. I actually, when I before I started my YouTube channel, because I'd been wanting to start one like for years, but I remember I was like, trying to prepare for it and actually go in with I wanted to have fun and just do stuff, just be me and do stuff, but I also wanted to take it seriously and actually be able to sustain it. And so I remember as I was preparing and watching other YouTube videos and just gaining information and just different things, several times I heard people were just just start, just do it.
Yeah.
And so I think eventually because I was just collecting information, but I'd also felt like a go from the Lord, but in that go I was okay, but I need to be prepared in a sense, or because I was I really don't know what I'm doing, and also I want to be successful,
right.
I don't want to just be doing stuff and then burn out, because I mean that's happened, I've started
Totally.
things and then it's
all of us,
it just fizzles out, if you don't have a plan or kind of thing, or an idea of where you're going, which I think can be very helpful, but also it can also be very it can hold you back, it can be a prison.
Yeah, that's
and so
true.
and so when I kept hearing people just do it, just start, I was all right, we're just gonna start and kind of experiment and
what was your plan with that? Were you I'm just gonna start, or did you have a plan?
Well, I kind of had a plan, but it was what, because which goes back to your questions, but it was kind of there's so many things that I'm interested in, and so many things that I'm quote unquote passionate about, but there's not a specific thing. And so a lot of times on social media or on YouTube, it's pick a specific thing or pick a specific lane that you want to go in, and find a niche.
Yeah.
And I was I don't
have that.
Okay. And so I was
Right.
what's my niche? There's so many things. I was I don't know. And then it kind of also sent me down this of self-doubt of kind of nothing. I'm not good at anything, or I don't know enough about lots of things, or the thing. And so, which was kind of just oh man, it gets kind of depressing. And then you're just well, maybe this isn't for me. I just won't. But then it's but I have all these things bubbling up inside of me that I'm
Right.
ugh. So I kind of just was you know what? We're going to make it broad. I'm just going to do all the things that I want to do, that I like to do. So I think I find vlogging really fun. I like watching people that I'm interested in, their vlogs.
Yeah.
And I was I'd always I would want to have a vlog, so I did some vlogging. I was I also really love the Lord, and I want to talk about the Lord and just things that people in the church don't talk about, that really I find disheartening that we don't talk about it. It could be so helpful, and there's just a lot of mysterious
effervescent
that that you don't know. I didn't know. I still don't know. And so I was just I want to talk about that. Or I like to, I said, I like to make music. I don't have any
you do, yeah, that's crazy. I forgot about that one.
Skill with it, or
that's not true.
Tools,
but okay, tools.
You know what I mean, I've never actually learned how to actually do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I like to do it, and so I was I want to share what I'm doing. I like to write, I like to do spoken words, poetry, whatever. And so I was I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. And so I kind of just did it, and that's kind of also to the whole pandemic kind of threw me
I don't think I've ever called that yet.
The whole panda and
Everyone's coming up with these nicknames. Like, stimulus check, my stimmy. Yes. What is happening?
But
the pandemic. Yeah. Okay, news to me.
But like, kind of like, was helpful. I love like. Let me don't put that in there.
No, that's real because it was not the best year for many of us, but it was very eye-opening. Yes, in other ways,
very much so.
Yeah,
and like and it kind of put a halt on life for a little bit. Yeah, and for me to be able to like, okay, step back and actually do the things that I'd been wanting to do, but I actually now have plenty of time for the most part to do them because wasn't really getting distracted by other things or having a lot really to do. Excuse me. But that kind of was like when I actually started. And then like, though in the middle, because it was a really hard year and there were a lot of things that happened, like some simultaneously, but where it kind of threw me off my game and I like stopped. And so, and it was just kind of like, ooh. So I needed to do like a lot, like healing and like lots of things, and I'm still healing. But yeah, that kind
that's
of
a part of the artistic process stopped. Is healing.
I believe
and expressing it, or like trying to not express it. Like it really depends on who you are. Me, I express it all the way, but yeah, it's hard to navigate sometimes because art can be very personal, but yet like a lot of us feel the need to share eventually, and so trying to navigate like what that looks like and everything. I do want to go back to you just saying that there's so many things and trying to like figure that out and freaking out a little bit. Yeah. Because I relate on so many levels. Like a lot of people don't know, but I would wake up like 2 a.m. and be freaking out. Like, how does it all connect? Because in my mind, I'm like, I love marketing. I love marketing. I love reaching people. Like not just marketing, because it sounds so stoic and cold and salesy. I love to reach people. There's something to me. I love to reach people. I love to help like others reach people too. So how do I do that? I'm also a musician. I feel called to do music on a major level. How do I do that? How does it all connect? I love sports. Like I would just like I would be in the bed like I love sports. I like to, you know what I mean? I like to paint. Like, you know what I mean? I love to interior design. Sorry, like
that's from all that. Anyway.
But I really feel like it doesn't have to make sense. It does not have to make sense. Yeah. And I think my life has started to make sense because I just kept journeying down these different pathways all at once, which sounds really random. And like it doesn't make sense, but you can artistically, you can journey down many pathways all at once, and they can maybe never come together. But I feel like God has brought mine together. Yeah. Like, and so like, for example, my music is a good example of how to reach people. Right. So it helps too. Like we're doing all of these amazing resources now, which I didn't know like 3 years ago that we would start to create. The Lord gave me dreams. Like, that's awesome. Because I was just paranoid and like freaking out at like 3 a.m. I was really going through it, and I'd have dreams and I'd figure it out. And it was like, write a book. And I'm like, but I am not like known as a writer. Like that was an authentic like swirl and like downward spiral. Like I'm known kind of for music, and then like now people kind of know me because I do a lot of marketing, but writing, they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. Like they already kind of do because I'm already doing a lot. Like writing too. Okay. Put out a course was next. And I was like, build a course? Like what else are we going to do here? I'm not trying out for the Olympics. That's all I'm saying. Like, and so it just felt very random, but like, all comes together and serves this greater purpose. And I think sometimes as artists, we have to take our hands off. Yeah. And just be like, this is what it is. Like, I don't need to explain it to anybody, right? Or myself.
Unapologetic, yeah.
Unapologetic, yeah. I don't have to explain it. It doesn't need to be explained. I think that, which is a little bit different. Like I don't have to explain it to you means I might get it, but you might not. Yeah. But when you say it doesn't have to be explained, none of us have to understand it. Yeah. And it's okay to just do all of it. Yeah.
Yes. I find like you're actually one of like you inspire me a lot, and so like really? I love yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know why I did that.
Okay, Elvis.
know.
Thank you very much.
I'll be telling you stuff in my brain. I don't know.
It's okay.
Man, I don't know.
It's a creative brain. It's
anyway, be doing things. But no, you really inspire me, and I love like even like hearing like a snippet of your story. It like just encourages me so much, and just when you're like, man, I didn't know how it connected, and like, and how like the Lord just like came through, but how you were just like I just kept doing it, and then eventually like He gave me a piece of it, and I was able to like connect everything, and look, here we are. Like, you know what I mean? And it just it's so encouraging, as well as I love how authentic you are with, and just how honest and real you are about how you're like, everyone sees where I'm at now, but no one saw the, you know, the grind, like, of how I got there.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? And I love how, like, you've shared with me a little bit of how you got there, and I'm just like, it's so encouraging, because it's like, it's not just, I mean, I feel like social media kind of does that sometimes, where you're seeing the end result, or you're seeing like the middle to the end result, but not necessarily the beginning, and how it's not just a piece of cake, like, you know, and how it really takes being patiently enduring, and how like
legitimately
just how you were saying, like, you weren't a sprinter, but you learned, you got stamina, you gained stamina, and you learned to continue to keep going, to keep working, to not give up. Fourth quarter.
And I had to realize, what if my fourth quarter happens when I'm 70? And that was really hard for me. That like, especially hard with music, because a lot of people hit big in the music industry when they're like 18, 16. And then these record labels raise them up. They become these amazing sensations. And by the time they're 24, they're like millionaires. Yeah. And that's like, unfortunately, like this picture that our media has painted, which makes us think this is the normal example, which in fact, it's like the very like 0.5% example. Like, there's a lot of like people that are just,
it's the exception.
Yeah, it's the exception. There's a lot of people that are not famous, incredible musicians, some of the best musicians you'll ever meet. We know a lot of them, and they are not famous like that, and they're not millionaires like that, but they live a very fulfilled life, and they feel like they're doing what they're called to do, and it's amazing. And so I had to get real with myself. What if it never looks like that? Like, what if I'm not Justin Bieber's little sister? Like, you know what I mean? In terms of like success. And then I also had to think to myself, what if I come into the fulfillment of what the dream I feel like God has given me at like 70? Yeah. Am I okay with taking that journey? Or does it need to look like what I want it to look like? And what do I have to prove to everyone around me? Like, what is it that I need to like achieve so much in such a small span of time? Because that was my issue. And so I started thinking about that, and I had to get real with myself. I'm like, okay, I like music. This was just in music. I was like, I like music so much that if I never get there, I'm still down with the journey. And if I achieve what I long to achieve at 70, 75, I'll stick on the journey because I like this.
Right. I think that's the key. It's, do you like what you're doing? Kind of thing. Or like, what's your intention? What's your end game, I guess? Like, I think that's really good. And I think, I mean, I'm like, I'm just going to say it, but
go ahead.
I feel like that is something for all of us to remember, whether we're like super successful or just starting out, or like, or what is like, to check in with ourselves and ask, like, what's my intention? Why am I doing this? Do I like what I'm doing? And if you don't, then you can, like, you know, being brave and changing it, or figuring out a way to change it, I think. Which goes back to, like, advice that you've given me of, like, just pick something or do something, kind of, or just start. And if you don't like it, do something else. Like, you can switch it, like, with like, like, and so
that's my mom's advice, actually. Which stays
shout
with
out
me. Love you,
Gabby's
mom. Yeah, when I went to college, she said, if you don't like it, come home. And that stuck with me forever. So I've always been like, because people, I don't know where this comes from. It's like, don't ever quit. I'm like, why?
Nike.
Like, quit. Maybe. If you hate it, quit fast. Like, unless you need that job, then don't quit. You need to stick with it until you find something, then you can quit. But yeah, like, that's real. Like, some of us stay in things way too long. We stay in relationships way too long. We stay in on journeys way too long that we're not supposed to be on. It's okay to quit. But it's also okay to normalize hard work.
I think you have to have both.
You have to have both, because if you don't work hard at anything, and that's the problem. I feel like our generation, I'll be honest, and my little brother's generation, I'm sorry to call all of us out, But I think we have taken, my parents' generation has normalized hard work to a fault. Like, my parents are still doing the same careers that they did when they were 18.
Right.
I honor them. I think it's amazing. My dad loves it, so he's a mechanic. He loves it.
Excuse me.
But a lot of people in my parents' generation hate it, but they're just still doing it. I think our generation has done a whole left pendulum swing. When we hate stuff, we are out and we are not coming back. But then a lot of us never end up working hard at anything.
Yeah.
Right? We know a lot of people.
Let me say this. Those are some strong statements, but I don't disagree. But I don't I don't disagree.
It's a generalization, meaning it's not everybody in our generation. Because you work hard. I know I work hard. We have friends that work hard. I think
so. Yeah.
We know people that work hard. If you work hard, you don't need to leave a comment because it was not for everyone. Okay. But there's a good portion of people that we've met, I would say, which gives me my personal perspective, that really want, just to be on a sincere level, they really want these dreams that are in their heart and that God has probably given them. Yeah. But yet either are scared to start or like just really believe it's going to be handed to them.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to watch because I'm like, man, if you just would start, like if you would just start, so much would unfold for you. Yeah.
What about questions for you? What about people who are like, okay, like I hear the message of just start, but what if they're like, how do I start? What do I do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if like the resources aren't available to me? Like, how do I, like, what, like, you know, how to do all of that?
What can you do? I think is a better question. Like,
that's good.
Because I think we try to standardize everything and we're not all the same. So like some of us are in predicaments where we don't have, I'll just go back to me as a musician because that's what I know the best, right? Like when I started, I've been wanting to be a music artist since I was 8, you know, I'm now 31. And so it's a long journey. Yeah, 30, it's a long journey. And I didn't actually get to kind of like have the resources till I was 18 though. I didn't have the money. My parents were like, they loved me, but they were like, we don't feel like you're ready to do that, so we're not going to pay for that. And they didn't know anybody in the music industry, so like who are they going to find to like you know? And I didn't know anything about music. No one in my immediate family was super musical to like help me. And so I'm like all I knew to do was like maybe take a piano lesson, and I played the clarinet like until I was in high school, and I said no more. And then I got a guitar, but even that was a slow journey for me because I'm like, how do I play this thing? So I just naturally kept doing.
What age did you get the guitar?
I was 14 when my mom bought me a guitar, but I didn't really play it for real, if I'm being honest, till I was 21.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, because it was overwhelming.
It was like fiddle with it, or like
I would try, but it was so like the theory of it all felt so overwhelming to me. Sense. Until I was 21 and I had someone come up to me because I was touring at 21. It just like, so just to help bridge that gap of like from like 14 to 21, right? Like I would just naturally look for events in town and get to know people that were doing it. I think that's, to be honest, that's the best way. Yeah, the best way to figure out how to do something is to go find someone that's doing it and ask them for their advice.
Yeah, like you mean like break that down for me.
Like practically. So I'm in Salinas, California, where I'm born and raised, right? And I would search on Facebook groups for musicians.
Oh, okay.
Musician networking groups. And I found one called Balanced Breakfast in San Jose, which was an hour from me. And I would drive up there every Saturday morning at the time. They would have a meeting every Saturday morning at like 10 a.m. And I would sit there and we would have breakfast and we would talk about the music industry.
How old were you?
This was probably in my early 20s.
Oh, okay, early 20s.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, wow, okay.
Because like I told you, I felt like a slow bloomer.
Right.
So for me, I started writing songs. That's all I knew how to do before that. Just vocals and pen and paper. I was getting great at just being a lyricist. I tried to fiddle with Fruity Loops, which is like a programming program for like a music program, like a DAW system to create your own beats and stuff. Yeah, I was like, I was okay. It's like, I'm better now, but yeah. And I would take like a piano lesson. And I played the clarinet in school, so I had some kind of theory.
Flashbacks.
But that's all I knew to do. I went to college and I would go to concerts and I would ask people like, where can I record music? That's how I met my producer. I was at a concert on a Tuesday night. I was like 18, and I walked to the sound man. I said, I'm sorry to interrupt. He's like trying to do the sound. So he was really he was looking at me like, for real?
Yeah,
I'm trying
right now.
Yeah. I was like, yes, right now, sir.
I love how like bold you are though.
I know, because I was just desperate. I was hungry. You know what I mean? I was like, this is my dream. I got to make it happen. I'm 18. Time is ticking, which it really was not. But like, it was, but it wasn't as ticking as fast as I thought it was. So I asked this guy, my producer now, and I was like, where can I go? He's like, I actually do production. And I was like, okay, cool. So I just like went to his studio in the basement of a church, and just somehow that was like a God-given connection, because he does a lot of R&B, soul, worship music. It's exactly what I do. This is the sound I produce. And so it just happened to happen. But I've also met producers that don't produce my sound. So like, I just kept asking around, going to groups, figuring that out, meeting people. Then you meet someone that does radio. Yeah. They're like, yo, you start following them on the gram. I like your music. You should send it to me. They're playing on the radio, and you just get into YouTube and you find somebody. I asked to, like how we're doing this podcast right now. I met Andre, who's behind the camera for all y'all who are watching this or listening. I met him because I was here in Kansas City, brand new city, didn't know how to navigate it, still learning. And I was at the International House of Prayer. Caleb Edwards was the leader of my worship team. And I just walked in one day and I was like, I want to do video. And your girl needs help. Like, I can kind of get by, but I want to do it on a higher level. So I just walked in the room. I said, does anybody know anybody that can do video? Caleb goes, actually, I do know someone. And I said, no way. He was like, yeah, I'll give you his number. And I had no idea what I was getting into, because Andre is phenomenal at video. And I'm not just gassing him up. He's really good. No. I mean, that's my opinion. You gotta tell me. Y'all can say what you want. No, I'm just kidding. Andre Ribeiro is the truth. But I'm just saying, I know it feels so hard to start things, but I think you don't ask, what do I do? Because there's no methodology for anything in life.
You ask, what can I do for you?
What can I do? You're fired. We're done. I'm just kidding. You ask. Okay, last words. You ask, what can I do with what I have where I'm at?
Yeah, that was
what
good.
Questions can I ask? I think a lot of us don't want to humble ourselves. Oof. We want the toolkit to be presented to us with a cake and some tea and some free food. No. Yeah. The rest of us had to get out here and ask some questions and put our pedal to the metal and get in the field and work. You know what I mean?
Can I interject?
Please.
So,
unless you say I'm wrong, then you can. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. I just feel like to say, for those of you who are like Christians, just like the story of like is it the widow and like the 2 coins?
No, not the 2 coins, but she goes door to door and asking her neighbors for like oil, or like not oil, but for bread? Like bins for oil. Yeah, that's crazy. And how like, well, anyway, someone had given me a word about that, but like how like to ask, like you got to keep asking, and like just the boldness of being able to just ask for it, even though it like seems crazy or it seems like not the norm, or people are looking at you like, you know, side-eyeing and stuff like that. And how like the Lord literally like y'all should go look at the story in the Bible about the widow, because I'm butchering it, but like Google it. Yeah, just Google it. Or open up your Bible if you have one.
Bible app if you're tech savvy.
Shout out Bible app.
Word of God, book of life. You know what I mean? Okay, sorry, we can't hang out together.
Anyway. But basically how she like went and kept asking, and like the Lord kept giving her oil, and it was just like, so she had to go out and ask more. But anyways, so as you were saying that, that just came to mind of like people like humbling themselves and like going and asking. And also like for those who are like more like, maybe that's not your frame, because like for me, not that I can't ask, I had to learn how to ask. Same. But mainly like just not so much family really, like kind of thing, but more so of like as I'm older and I'm like on my own, and like having to not having this like not keeping the mentality of like you got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, like kind of thing. But like it's okay if you don't know, ask, like you can ask. And so like for those, it does take like, if that's not your frame, it does take like boldness, or it takes like, you know, just ask the Lord. If you're a Christian, like ask the Lord for help, or just whatever you do, like, you know, just hype yourself up, like to just ask, be bold
and start
just
practicing.
ask.
I think people look at people like me, right? And they're like, well, it's so easy for her. Look at her. Like, she has no fear. That's not true. Especially if you were in my family, you'd be like, yeah, Gabby used to be the shyest little kid.
Yeah.
I was so scared of my own aunties and uncles growing up. My dad would drag me into the house and be like, girl, say hello to your auntie. All
hello,
mad at
girl.
Me. And I'd be like, hi, can I go? Please, I'm shaky. And so that was really me. And so, but I just started practicing it. And so maybe we should start a creative challenge that's like, hey, practice asking about your industry, or like one person a day about something. But it doesn't have to be, I think we think, oh, I got to call them on the phone and talk with them. But you could send a quick Instagram message.
Yeah.
You could send an email. Hey, do you know anybody that hosts concerts in my town? Or let's just like switch it. I've been talking about music a lot. Like, let's say you are an illustrator. Maybe you hit up a local magazine in town and say, hey, do you guys hire illustrators? That's one for the day.
Yep.
What are you going to do tomorrow? And then the next day. Good. And then it becomes such a habitual thing that you're like not really tripping off of it anymore. Yeah. And then you start getting vocal about it. You start surprising yourself. Like, you just like pass somebody, like, so Help works in this co-working space here in Kansas City. We find ourselves all the time, like, passing someone in the hall and be like, hey, what do you do? Well, if you ever need to, like, talk about how to do this or whatever, call us. Like, and you just end up, like, some of my clients and people I work with, I met right in this building. That's nice. Because we passed each other and they had a camera and I said, what do you do? Like, some of, like, my biggest opportunities have come from that. Wow. Just saying hi, shooting the breeze. Yeah. And I think...
Oh, I don't like shooting the breeze.
Well, I don't want to say just shooting the breeze, but being naturally curious.
Yeah.
So I'm very inquisitive. And so I'll be like, hey, like, what do you do? I love people, even though I'm an introvert at heart. I love to charge alone. But I'm authentically curious about human beings.
Yeah, same.
Like, what do you do? Or, like, where are you from? I always ask those two questions. Yeah. And it ends up forming these, like, at least we jump on Instagram and follow each other. And then, who knows? I might ask them a question later. And I'm not like, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, she's the example. I'm not the example. So if that's not your style, figure out what works for you. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
that's good. I think that was really good advice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I feel like some people are going to come for me on this
podcast. For that? No, I don't think you were demanding. If you come for her, I'm going to be right there beside her.
Okay, Kendra, so tell us before we end this, like, just give maybe like 20 seconds of encouragement to the creative that's like, I'm struggling right now. And first of all, I feel like a lot of people are going to relate to you, feeling like they have multiple things and they don't know the journey, because I can relate to that. Thanks. And some days I still feel like I do, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, like, that's the struggle right now. It's just like, what? Like, I'm more so in the asking of like, okay, Lord, like, what? Like, I know you created me. I know you created me like this. Show me. Like, you have to show me. And, like, not that he hasn't. He's given me, like, different pieces, like, to kind of narrow, like, I guess the vision, so to speak, or the dream or whatever. Yeah. But there's also stuff that he's awakened on the side, like, in that journey. And I'm like, I relate to man. That. And I think just even who I am at, like, my core is just very, like, I just like so many different things.
I know.
And so it's just kind of like, and that's how it even was for, like, when I was doing school. Like, that's why, like, finding my major, like, there's so many different things. Like, I could go so many different ways. Yeah. And, like, trying to find that one thing that I could, like, focus on. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of, like, in the waiting. And I feel like also, too, like, after hearing, like, your story and just, like, I don't know, hope, I guess, that he's going to bridge it all together, or, like, he's going to show me, or I'm just going to continue, like, I don't know, just doing the things that I like. Like, I don't necessarily, I think the more that I talk to you, and then, like, also just the more that I, like, just sit, and as I'm just, like, you know, just letting things unfold with the Lord, like, you know, like, it's not every day that I'm like, okay, but it's, like, those moments where I'm like, man, I just did this, and I'm like, man, I really like that, like, what, like, you know, what are you thinking, like, you know, just, you know, I feel like you said, like, I even if it doesn't all come together, like, who says I can't have different interests? Like, who says I can't?
Why not?
You know, like, yeah, why not? Like, kind of thing, and we'll just see where it goes, or I don't know. But I feel like also to, like, to call myself out too, I might also be waiting for this, like, light bulb moment, which I feel I don't know. I feel like could happen.
It could happen.
But I mean, I don't know. I've also seen like this past year too that things are just happening. Like, to even be sitting here, like stuff was just happening. And so just kind of, I feel like the Lord knows my frame too. And like same for y'all, like the Lord knows our frame. And sometimes, at least for me, he's not going to give me the whole picture, because he'll know that I'll like go straight to the picture and like won't take the time to like learn the things in between. Like he'll give me like step by step. And so I think that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Like there's step by step, and kind of too like another thing that you said like about like if I'm 70, like how did you say it, like
if I arrive at like 70,
if you
in
arrive
my dream,
the
fulfillment of it,
and like at first I was like, oh man, like I was kind of like, oh, like why not?
It feels
not,
sad,
like,
but then like why is that sad?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but as I'm like processing that like subconsciously, honestly, cause like, I'm kind of just like, well, like so it does, but like the part that would be really sad is not living in between that. You know what I mean? Like letting, like not being present and like, and instead always like, okay, but like getting to that end goal, and then like all the different things that like either help you get to the end goal or like make the end goal better. Like I'm just ignoring, or I'm like not, enjoying or being present with. And so I don't know, I guess advice,
I feel like you gave a lot of advice in that.
I know. That's what I was about to say. I don't know if I necessarily have any advice other than like what I'm going to take myself is just like the key, like be brave and ask, like kind of thing. Like, even if you don't want to, or even if like just you find yourself in a space or a situation and you're like the thought pops into your head. Oh, why don't you just like ask, whatever it is about whatever, just a general curious question, like to not like talk myself out of it. So don't talk yourself out of it, like just do it. And what do you have to lose? Nothing really.
I mean, but an
awkward okay, gotta go, like
I know
that's me. But
well, the reality is you have to get not you have to, but I realized I have to find more passion for my dream than more fear.
Ooh.
Like I have to align myself with one or the other. I can either be scared all my life, or I can just do it scared. Like, and so, and I have more passion. I have decided I will have more passion than fear. That's what I'm trying to say. I will have more passion than my fear. And so I see it as like a balancing system, right? Like whatever those metric systems are, like a weight system. Like if my fear is here, my passion is here. I just need to get more passion. Like, because my passion, whichever one you have more of, will drive you.
True.
And I just choose to have more faith in what God can do through my dreams and passions and crafts and abilities than, or without them. Like just more faith in what God can do versus fear of someone rejecting me or whatever. Like, because that goes away. Like someone rejecting you fades into the background, but like, if you never achieve your dreams, I don't know if that would fade into the background for me. Like, I would hate to have a bunch of kids one day and, like, be married and, like, kind of settle into a life, which being married doesn't necessarily mean you settle into a life, but, find myself mid-60s and be like, I never took a shot because I was scared. That would haunt me. And I don't think I can live with that.
That's good. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, and I feel like some may not, but then it's like, well, maybe there's something else for them, like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like, I feel like because I'm also, I don't know, I like celebrities, like I like
they're fascinating.
They're
fun
very
to watch,
fascinating. I love just getting to like learn about them and just different things and stuff. And so I know I like watch a lot of interviews and stuff like that. And I feel like I've heard a lot of people who specifically for like acting, they're like, for them, like it is like they understand for the most part that it's like a once in a lifetime. Like it's not normal. Like it's not the norm to be a movie star or whatever, television star. But like they knew that something within them was like this is what I'm made for. I won't be okay if I just go and keep working, being a waitress, or if I go to school and,
become a doctor
pre-med.
Which is fine. You can do those things.
Yes, I'm not saying don't do those or those aren't good things. It's for them, it was they knew that those things were not going to satisfy them. There was something else that was driving them to do it. And so for a lot of people, when it comes to certain things, if you want to be, if you're creative and you want to be a creative, whether it's whatever, in whatever sphere you want to, what's that driving force? If it's something where you're I gotta have this, then it's there's no doubt that, if you keep that mindset, or you get the right mindset, that you're not going to get it.
Right. Just takes time. Yes, just sink into it, let the journey rock, and keep going.
And if there's other people who are well, I don't necessarily it's something that I'm interested in, but it doesn't I'll be fine if I don't do it. Then it's well, then maybe that's okay.
Maybe it's just a hobby for you.
Exactly. Then keep it keep it as a hobby, because those are great and those are fun, and we need those.
Yeah.
And so
I love that. That's great advice. Yeah.
I'd also say for people who do know, based off of what we've talked about, that do know what they want to do, and they're just kind of hanging around or whatever, start. Just start.
One foot in front of the other.
Just do it. Yeah. And be brave and just do it. And yeah.
I love that. That's great. Okay. Last words. How can people connect with you on the interweb?
On the interweb. I have an Instagram account.
Hey, that's real. That's everybody. We're Instagram.
I guess. It's, what is my Instagram? I think it's basically Kenny, but it's KEN.NY, I think 29. I think.
Can we check real quick?
Yeah, please, because I'm
help us, Lord.
I'm not used to.
Hold on one sec. I'm on the internet. I just tagged you in something. It's Kenny, KEN period NY 29.
Period. And then TikTok.
You don't know that one either? I can't help you.
I think it's
turn the
Kenny.
TikTok on. It's gonna start screaming.
I think it's Kenny_2300.
Okay.
I think so.
That's great.
If not, if you go to my Instagram, you'll be able to see it on there, because I post most TikToks everything on there. So yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. My YouTube channel is under construction, so
I feel once you find one thing, you can find it all, though, right? That's social media world. Once someone finds your Instagram,
yeah, I think so.
They can figure out everything else.
Yeah,
and we'll link it in the video. If you're watching
scary.
The video, we'll link it.
But
yeah,
yeah, sure, yeah,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
That's it. You got anything else to say? No, you guys. Thank you for listening to me and Kendra. This has been fun. It was like a stream of consciousness. So Thanks for rocking with me. Thanks for rocking with us. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. And if you're on the podcast listening to our voices, we're coming back next week with another one. So love you guys. Stay tuned for more. Check you later.
Bye.
Bye.